I get really worried about monotony in my job. I want variety in my workplace. I want variety in my role. And one place that's really honest about the fact you're going to have variety is small companies and startups who say it's going to be really hands-on. There's lots of opportunities for growth. They're really honest with the fact that you can get asked to do anything on that day. And they're often still finding their feet and deciding what kind of company they're going to be. And I've really enjoyed being part of the marketing for small companies, because I feel like, saying we're going to use this hashtag about this social issue, we're going to be a company that says this. And I feel like I get a lot of ability to steer a company's image and branding and their early morals when I join a team that's in an early company, in a very young company. But it's the ups and downs. I go for a small company and they may have never even met someone from a low income background. They might not have ever met a queer person. The CEO may not know a disabled person. And suddenly there's all three in the office all at once as me. So of course they're going to say some of the things that are wrong. They might not know what rights I have as a disabled person in the workplace. They are also making mistakes. They don't have procedures yet. And there will be times where I make mistakes or I just decide to leave instead of sticking it out. And it all comes back down to my own little doubts, my own bits of imposter syndrome, and my own curiosity. I loved it. I loved having a 6-month contract in one industry, then doing a 4-month contract in a completely different sector. I love jumping around, and I find that small and medium companies have more exciting job openings for someone who is still very career curious. Culturally, a lot of our stories around coming from a non-traditional or low-income background are about how people overcame their poverty and now they're a CEO. But we have the same narratives about disabled people. It's like you overcome your spina bifida and now you're an athlete. And yeah, some people have that story, but it seems they're the only stories that we get. Whereas for a lot of us, we're forever disabled. We're forever from a low income background. We're forever queer. And it seems, sometimes it feels that if you don't fit the narrative of overcoming it or keeping your background quiet, that you're not going to fit in. But you can't mask, you can't be someone who you're not. And it's just been very, very strange to me being in a workplace and hearing consensus, it seems, among my colleagues, where they all agree that my background, it makes me a bad worker, but they don't know they're talking about me. They're talking about hypothetical poor person or hypothetical queer or hypothetical disabled person wouldn't fit in with us. And I'm there hitting all of those things going, maybe I shouldn't fit in with you then. Maybe I should leave. I've never been bullied out of a workplace, but I've seen little red flags and gone, I should take my leave. And that's a real shame, because if I knew how to approach my line managers and say, look, this is making me really uncomfortable. This is something that's making me not happy in my workplace, might even drive me towards leaving. In the past, it has done. I think one of my issues as well is I have worked for a lot of startups and small businesses, and they have not had a established HR. So when I have an interpersonal issue where someone is not fond of their idea of people with my background, who do I go to? Sometimes it's that same person is who I'm meant to report these complaints to. And it just becomes a case of, well, I'm not going to win. Nothing's going to change. I'm just going to go. And I think that's a real shame, because when I do achieve things in the workplace, I'm so proud and I'm so happy. And I find myself motivated to work harder. And it's such small things that could improve that. Like I said, having more robust HR in small businesses, having training on how to deal with hostile people in the workplace who aren't outright aggressive, but are just very free with their opinion about different demographics. And it's just very uncomfortable to be around. There's just so many different ways that the demographics I'm part of stack and make my choices in some way narrower. And it's trying to get out of that funk of my choices are small because I'm too much, and trying to get out of that sense of, well, I'm from a low income background, so of course I'm not going to fit in the sector of banking, which is to do with money, and all my clients will have so much money and I can't relate, and just spiraling into thinking about things you can't do because of your background. There's plenty of things that, because I'm disabled, I know that I wouldn't do well at. So, for instance, I probably couldn't be a tour guide because that would involve taking people on walks. And while I could do the public speaking side of it and really enjoy the interaction, I couldn't reliably walk that route every time. So that's something where I've gone, I'm limited, I can't do it. To be fair, to be honest, my biggest concern at this point is, I'm 25, I graduated a couple of years back, and one of my neighbours said to me, why do you keep going for entry-level jobs, Amie? And I was thinking, well, I'm disabled. How am I going to get a career? I don't know how to build it, because the middling jobs before you get up a level require a bit more physical exertion and longer hours. And they're not things I can easily do. So I do feel really trapped. There is like a ceiling at the moment in the types of jobs I can do and the types of income I can achieve. And I do really want a mentor who has some of the same backgrounds as me to help me go up a few more ranks, really. There's just a lot of imposter syndrome and a lot of doubt about, can I do this? And a real sense that because I've got perhaps a non-traditional background, I feel like a common background, but it's not the talked about background. So I feel like my career is going to be really atypical, and I don't know what the next step is. Keep your mind open to what options you've got, and do investigate your options. There are people in positions like at the job centre, like at the career service at UEA, who make it their business to know what your options are. And if you go and ask them for help, they're going to be like, great, someone to talk to. I have information that you might like. It's not as scary as you think to ask questions of people who have put themselves in positions of come to me for information. It's so weird because we're in a very strange place in our economy, in our society, where we're encouraged to do stuff at the expense of our health. But for all people, try not to do stuff at the expense of your health. Try not to do stuff at the expense of your feelings. There will be people that really respect you. There will be people who give you amazing roles and opportunities, and you will find that you love doing something you thought wasn't for you. It might take you a while to get there, though.